Can you all hear me? Yes or no? Okay, so first question. Let's go ahead and talk about some things with oligopolies. HHI, very good question. For the AP exam, yes, you have to know HHI. I can't remember if there's an HHI question. There might not be one. But I would never give you something so complicated that you would have to figure it out. You have to, know what HHI is. I don't think there is an HHI question on there, but just know what the index is and how you compute it. You just take the market share and square it plus market share and square it equals HHI. So 10,000 is your monopoly. So 0 is perfect comp. Okay, so whoops, there we go. So anyway, there's, that's with HHI. I honestly can't remember. A couple things with price leadership. just to know, price leadership is like follow the leader. And that's sort of like, I think of like the intersection with like gas station, and gas station. So what happens here, they don't collude with each other, but what happens is with price leadership, they might have gas at $1, and then $1, and then maybe this gas station might be like 99, and then they go to 98, and then they go to 97. So it's sort of like a follow the leader with price leadership. It's just a vocab term that you have to know. Colluding oligopolies. So colluding oligopolies are when firm 1, firm 2, and firm 3 all work together. And they strategize. Okay? Now, with a colluding oligopoly, if you ever have to graph it, all it is a monopoly graph. Okay? That's all colluding oligopoly is. It's an oligopoly, it's a monopoly graph because they are working as one, like a monopoly. Okay? Non-colluding oligopolies is something, I believe it's a kink demand curve, and don't worry about that at all. Okay? Can I say what the test topics are? Sure, I'll even give you all the answers. How's that? So let me move up here for 1 second. Test topics. Well, obviously, monopolies. You have to know short run. You have to know MR equals MC. Let's think what else. Price discrimination. Let me go through a few things here. Dead weight loss. Okay. Oligopolies. I'm having a bad time for spelling. Really bad. Did I spell that wrong? Yeah, oligopolies. Okay. That was bad. So oligopolies, payoff matrix, prisoner's dilemma, Nash equilibrium. Let's think what else. Dominant strategy. Okay. And let's think what else. And that's, I mean, that's pretty much, just to let you know that the FRQ is on monopoly and the FRQ is on oligopoly. Okay, and then there are 20 multiple choice. So let me actually zoom out a little bit. Okay, and 20 multiple choice. Okay. Okay, so let me go to Naomi's question. How do you find the profit maximizing point for price discriminating monopolies? All right, so perfect price discrimination. That's a very, very good question. And let's take a look. Or as we call it, perfect price discrimination. All right, so a couple of you, let me go over real quickly. All right, so profit maximizing point, it's just going to be MR equals MC. So wherever that is, that's your profit maximizing point. Okay, so remember MR equals MC. For all markets. Okay, so don't forget that as well. Can I go over price discrimination? I sure can. I'll go over price discrimination. So, and then I'll go over prisoner's dilemma, payoff matrix, Nash equilibrium. So I'm going to go to a new sheet of paper. And let's go over price discrimination. So a couple things to start off with, and I'm going to start off with and let me bring MR down here. Here's our chopsticks. So if I decide, and just, you know, let's just say marginal cost happens to be elastic, which is totally fine. So what we do basically, MR equals MC. Okay, right here. Here's your quantity. Okay, and here's your price. We can certainly say that marginal cost is $100. But what we'll do is we'll come up here, and this might be $200. Okay, now this is just a single price monopoly. Okay, I'm going to lead you to perfect price discrimination. Okay, why is this a single price monopoly? And you could certainly have the Nike swoosh in here too. That would certainly be fine. However, one thing that you need to know is that this monopoly is, let's say it's 100 items here. So 100 times 200 is what, 20,000. So 20,000 is the revenue. Okay, so the price times the quantity, and well, actually, then we have to subtract. That's revenue, but this area is going to be profit right here. Okay, because there's your cost right there. But anyway, that is the total revenue there. Next, let's go to price discrimination. And let me slide that over for a second. So with price discrimination, things change a little bit here, because then we still have our marginal cost right here, but demand equals marginal revenue. Okay, so what the monopolists can do is they can charge here, they can charge here. It's not a single price. They can charge here, and they can charge here. Okay? So all of this right here is going to be producer surplus. Okay? Because what they're doing is they are gaining additional revenue from charging at each additional higher price. So this might be $100, $150, $200, and maybe $250. Okay, this might be $50, $100, $150, and so on. Okay, so what happens here is that by charging the higher price, they're getting additional revenue. They could charge anywhere up here. And the consumer tends to pay the maximum. Okay, so there is no consumer surplus. It's all going to be producer surplus. But one of the key things to remember with this is that perfect price discrimination, and this is first degree. There's 3 degrees, and all I've ever seen is first degree on like an FRQ, is the demand curve. It becomes basically, I guess we could say Mr. DARP again. So D equals MR. Okay, I hope that helps out a little bit. And let me go ahead and transition to our next one. Let's see here. Okay. Monocomp. So Katie, monocomp. There's multiple choice for monocomp. And so basically, I might give you some multiple choice pictures of monocomp, and you have to compute like maybe profit or loss, or is it in the long run. You won't have to graph monocomp, but you have to understand the monocomp graph. So if you need me to go back over that, let me know. I do have a couple questions for payoff matrix and Nash equilibrium. And Zach, if you could clarify, are you talking about monocomp? So just let me know there. Okay. Who is that? I don't know who that is. Anyway. All right, so let's go to the payoff matrix. Let me go ahead and draw a payoff matrix, and I might have to go find a quick example. Let me find one. The only problem if I come up with my own example, it might not work out. So we just need a 2x2. Okay, here we go. Just want to make sure. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead with this example. So we've got firm B and we've got firm A. And let me write a little bit neater. I'm like really sloppy right now. So let's say they're going to advertise or don't advertise, advertise, and don't advertise. Okay, and I'll explain some of the terminology if you're not sure again. So these are the profits that come out. So let's go with 10 and 5 and 15 and 0. So these are the payoff. This is the payoff matrix right here. What I'm going to do in red is obviously for firm A, I will box that in just like that. So we know that every firm A are all the numbers on the left. So I'm going to go ahead, and the first thing that we're going to figure out is dominant strategy. So dominant strategy is a firm's best move, not considering the other firm. And usually if they have this on an FRQ that, they're going to ask you, what's the dominant strategy? Is there a dominant strategy? And they might even ask you, explain using numbers. So that could certainly happen. So I'm going to use my green pen. Actually, use my blue pen. So if firm B advertises, firm A should do that. If firm B doesn't advertise, they should do that. So what happens, no matter what firm B does, firm A should advertise. So there is a dominant strategy for firm A to advertise. Okay? Next, let's go to firm A. If firm A advertises, firm B should advertise. If they don't advertise, then firm B should do that. Now, go down and you see whatever firm A does, advertise or doesn't advertise, firm B should advertise. So there is a dominant strategy here that firm A should advertise and firm B should advertise. Now, since this is the scenario right here, this is actually called a Nash equilibrium, and I'll explain why. Because a Nash equilibrium is what best suits both firms. Okay, so they're looking out for each other's interest. This is your Nash equilibrium right here. So the 10 and the 5. And what's interesting here, this does give you the most profit. Even though this does, it's not in the best interests of both, because somebody's going to earn 15 and somebody's going to earn 0. But if they work together in the best interest, they're going to earn $15 here. And obviously these two, this is a lower profit than this one, and this is a lower profit as well. So basically they're working together there. I hope that helps you with payoff matrix. And let me go ahead and see if there are any other questions for payoff matrix. So that was Elise's question on payoff matrix. Okay. Mono comp. What's mono comp? Okay. Do we need to know LRATC in relation to monopolies? I don't believe so. I don't believe there's going to be anything in there as well. Let me go over the monopolistic competition graph. And we probably spent, I guess, a good day and a half on that. So let's take a look. Okay. Oh, Prisoner's Dilemma, at least. I mean, that's basically the Prisoner's Dilemma is basically the payoff matrix. So when they call it Prisoner's Dilemma because one prisoner confesses, the other person could either confess or deny, and the payoff is basically like jail time or they get set free. So if you search Prisoner's Dilemma, it'll give you a little recap of that. But that's basically the that. Okay, so let's take a look at monocomp. Monocomp again is, so we've got quantity, we've got price, we've got the demand curve, marginal revenue. I always like to bring it down here past the x-axis in case they ask for like revenue maximization. And Naomi, I'm going to go over the allocative efficiency if you're still there as well. So with monocomp, let me start off with, here's your marginal cost curve, and let me go ahead with, let's start off with ATC. Okay, so this is monocomp in the short run. Well, how do we know? Because they're making a profit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is MR equals MC right there, and I'm going to call this Q monocomp. We're going to come up here, and there's P MC. And if I go ahead right there to ATC, this area is profit. Okay, so there's our monocomp. Very, very similar to a monopoly graph until we get to the long run. So what happens here, since there are profits, these sharks come in. Hold on, let me see if I can do a real good shark. Hold on, this might be good. It's a green shark. That's one of my better sharks. So the sharks come in because what they want to do, they want to eat up profits. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to drive demand down. Because now that other firms are in, it's going to drive demand down. There are going to be more close substitutes. So it's sort of like if we're all in the hamburger business, if we each have a different hamburger firm, we're making profits, and then period 5, who's not in the hamburger business, they decide to all jump in, well, they're going to start eating up all our profits, and everybody jumps in. So here's what happens. I'm going to draw the same exact graph so it doesn't complicate, okay? And I'll try to duplicate it the best I can over here. So here's MC. Now remember, one thing that doesn't happen is ATC doesn't move. Remember, in monocomp, the demand curve goes down, and let's go ahead. I know it's not to scale, so here's the demand curve. Here's marginal revenue. There you go, right there. Bop, 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 bop. QMC, right here, PMC. So what happens here is demand went down, demand decreased. So the ATC stayed the same, demand went down. Now another thing that happened right here, as you see, total revenue equals total cost. So now we have zero econ profits, and we are in the long run. Okay, bada boom, bada bing. Now, a couple of you were asking, I know Naomi was asking as well, are we, in the long run, allocatively efficient? So what you have to remember, a couple things, is for allocative efficiency, or what we call socially optimal, is where P equals MC. Okay, so let's take a look at P equals MC. P equals MC, so the demand curve also equals the price. P equals MC right here. So that's a no. And then the other part is productive efficiency. Let's see if the that is productively efficient, where P equals the lowest point on ATC. Remember, a firm, hey, wants to produce at its lowest ATC, so that would be right here, and that's a big no as well, because a firm doesn't want to produce at its lowest ATC. They don't. I mean, it would be great if it worked out that way, but they want to produce at their maximization point, profit maximization, not revenue maximization, which is right here. Okay? So monocomp is inefficient. Okay? So I want to let everybody know there. Does this help everyone with monopolistic composition? Just want to make sure that we are all good to go. Let me go. Do you want me to go through look at the test real quick to see if there's anything funky in there? I have it. Let me see. No, I have a copy of the test here somewhere on my computer. Are any of the imperfect markets efficient? No. That's why they're imperfect. How come you never say monocomp in class? Who is that? Does anybody know who that is? Should I say monocomp? I don't know. Okay, let's take a look. I have to find the test. I'm all flustered. Where is the test? Here it is. All right, here's the test. I found it. So let's go to 200. Let's see. Monopoly questions. Monopoly model. Identifying profit area. No, MR equals MC. Price discrimination. Imperfect competition. Oligopoly. Definitely payoff matrix. Let's see. Show you the test? Absolutely. Collusion, know what that is. Monopolistically competitive, what does the curve look like? Let's see. Not a ton of like multiple choice. Know the graph. Know how to find things. I thought everybody did really well graphing. Well, most people did really well graphing today. We had our consistent people. And then some people were a little distracted, but we won't mention them by name out there in YouTube land. Let's see. That's it. And no Monopoly. Yeah, Katie, be careful with the hair tomorrow. No perfect competition. That was... this is why if we were like on a 4A, 4B schedule, you'd have probably like a bigger test. But since we only have like 50 minutes, I have to make the test shorter. Right, perfect competition is not on the test. So don't stress. Definitely there's something. Am I giving out stamps? What is collusion? So collusion is when, like, you know, if I have a business, let's say we sell, let's see, if we're in the sushi business and you're in the sushi business, there you go. They work together, and they work together to set the price. That's the one thing that makes collusion illegal. Remember, illegal, like a sick bird. Yeah, I mean, I can't be any more. I've told you everything that's on the test. I've given you all the answers. Sort of, kind of. But I think you'll do well. Let's see. Free Cal stamps. Well, Danny, if you, like, seriously, like, pump up the people in your class, most of the people are pumped up in your world class, so you can get Cal stamps if you pump them up. KT. Let's see what else. I think that's it. I mean, aside from me just giving you the whole test right now, according to Emily, then I think we're good. Well, we have an opportunity. You know, I was just thinking about that. Thank you, Danny. Cal stamps for you. Yes, so everybody finally made up the test. So I'm going to give those all back, but what I'm going to do is I think I'll put out the opportunities this weekend, and everybody can earn up to 5 points for each old test. And plus, it's good for review, too. Can't hurt your grade. It can only help your grade. And plus, any added knowledge it's good. It's a bonus. Let's see, what else? Anything else, ladies and gentlemen? We've only been on for 35 minutes, and that's good. Any other questions? I think if we had perfect comp, I think we'd have, like, a longer review session. Yes, sometimes there is no Nash equilibrium. Sometimes there's 2 Nash equilibriums. Sometimes there's 1. I haven't seen any with 3. But all you'll see on the AP exam or my exams are what we call 2x2 matrices. Sometimes if you're really like an econ nerd, there's like 3x3, but you know, you got to have a life somewhere, you know. Anything else for the good of the group? I hope somebody brings donuts tomorrow. That's all I'm saying. I hope somebody brings donuts. H-Goat. Beeve, how come it's been so quiet back in your area? You guys have been focusing, I think. If I don't mind, what if I do mind going over it again? That's the point. You know what, Zach? Actually, if you go back to one of my, I think it's 2 episodes ago, I had like a short posting on that. Maybe it's Ryan. Yeah, we got to split up Ryan and Spencer. Ryan can sit next to Jamie. She won't mind. So between Jamie and Carolina. Extra credit for donuts. I don't know. What if I bring donuts? Do I get extra credit? Or, Zach, you could just go back over the video and rewatch it, or just fast forward to that area. So, anything else for tonight? It's almost time to watch some Netflix. Actually, oh my God, I had a Diet Pepsi today, finally. I shouldn't be drinking it, but I am drinking it. Ah, yes. Oh, of course, always extra credit for Starbucks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Though you can't get Starbucks at Howard High, so how would you be able to get a Starbucks? It's very difficult unless you... Anyway. Any other questions? Let's see how many people we've had. I think we had about 20. Oh, there's Ryan. Ryan, where you been? We missed you. Yes, the GUH Corporation. Coke, Coke is just so sugary. So sugary. Yes. Bad, bad, bad. And Amanda. Any other questions before I go spend some quality time with my jacks? I don't know what Bird Box is. Oh, it's on Netflix. Bird Box. Huh. It got okay reviews. We'll have to see. All right. Anything else before I sign off and try to gain a life for tonight? Last call. It's trending on Netflix. Yeah, I gotta watch some Netflix tonight. It's a very good idea. I should come up with an extra credit question for tomorrow. But the problem is if I give you an extra credit question, somebody's going to tell the 3rd period class or the 5th period class, Dan Man? Danny, who is that? I don't know who that is either. Maybe it's someone. I have an idea. I bet you it's somebody who scanned the QR code from your class and got in on the live stream. What's the difference between dead weight loss and excess capacity? So dead weight loss is lost consumer surplus. Actually, I will go over that for Naomi. So let me grab a sheet of paper. All right, here we go. So excess capacity applies to monocomp. Excess capacity is the difference between the minimum ATC and the profit maximization in monocomp. Okay. Another thing is dead weight loss is lost surplus. And I can show you about dead weight loss real quickly. So for instance, if we have like coffee, for instance, if let's say there's Katie coffee, and then there's Viv Bucks. Okay, two firms operating here. Okay, what you're going to see here is that they each have consumer surplus, producer surplus. Okay, so there's your Katie Coffee and Viv Bucks. All right, now let's say they actually merge together. Okay, and they become I guess we could say they become like, what can we call them? Katie Viv Coffee. That's a bad name. So what would happen here is that now that they become a monopoly, they become one. They're the only coffee producers. They can do a lot of things here. They can charge, well, just becomes different. And what happens with monopoly, ATC, there's their profit. Consumers don't get the full benefit here of a market competition between KT Coffee and Viv Bucks. So what happens here, the consumer unfortunately doesn't get the benefit of this merger between the two. You go from the profit maximization to the price to the socially optimal part or point, and that's lost consumer surplus. So since they became a monopoly, consumer surplus is right here. Same thing would apply if it was like monopolistic competition, if there were a lot of firms in there as well. Um, ah, I searched up HDog Econ. Oh, good job. Let's see. Example of excess capacity. Sure. Excess capacity. So that would be monocomp, price, quantity. Let's go to demand, marginal revenue, marginal cost. Let's go to the long run ATC. All right, here's right here. That is our quantity MC. We come up here, price MC, and then we are at, so productively our excess capacity would be, let's say, quantity ATC. This area between here is excess capacity. So it's the difference between profit maximization and the lowest minimum ATC. Okay? So there you go, Elise. Any other questions? I'm going to wrap things up. Sherry Lynn, are you a Howard High student? Probably. Must be if they searched up HDog Econ. You're welcome. Any other questions? Oh, and get ready for Monday. We have a simulational Monday. Make sure we're going to call on wonderful students to do push-ups. Push-ups. Anything else? Last questions before we head out and have a wonderful Friday. Maybe over the weekend, if you get a few minutes, start working on your midterm review guide. Don't fall behind. And I think it's all good. Okay. All right. That is it for the evening. I hope you guys get a lot of sleep, relax. You'll be all good for tomorrow. And we'll see you then. All right. Have a good one. Bye.